Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Nice to see you again through this video. May we all stay healthy and be protected by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. In this video, we are from group A for Profesi Keguruan course. We'll present our material about characteristic of English foreign language teacher according to Omani, EFL teacher and students perspective. Before we continue, let me introduce our group member. My name is Muhammad Fakhr Almas as the first speaker, and the second one is Arin Saputra as the second speaker, and Evan Rindayani as the last speakers. Good teacher characteristic and definition and categories. Talking about the characteristic of good teacher is actually a very broad topic, because the characteristic of good teacher have a different perspective from each which the subject and object are related to it. There are many opinions and perspectives from various experts. According to Witter in 2003, he defined the characteristic of good teacher into the three main categories: instructional competence, personality, and the teacher-students relationships. According to his explanation, instructional competence, including the ability the teacher to create students-centered classroom, provide adequate content knowledge, and maintain professional attitude, is the most value of the three categories by learners. Teacher personality, on the other hand, relates to the individual trait that instructor bring to class and can be understood, including their level of patience and understanding. The personality that is often offered as an important determinant of the teacher-student relationships. The third category here, and may be of great importance in societies, of the teacher-student relationship in the classroom, are considered more important than the nature of the teaching relationship itself. Therefore, generally speaking, good teachers from all disciplines share similar qualities which entitle them to be referred to as a good, effective, or instructor. However, English language teacher from different teacher of other subjects in numbers of ways, which may be related to the nature of English as subject. In particular, according to Berg in 2006, states that difference can be said to include the contrast between native and non-native speaker of English, the focus on skills rather than objective, the centrality of communicates abilities to the classroom, and subsequent adoption of different teaching methods and activities. The next factor in influencing perception of the good teacher characteristic. Furthermore, the factor that influence the perception of good teacher characteristics, according to the Zhang and Wedkin in 2007, are the culture, gender, subject area, school level, and the curriculum use. Factors that influence and perception of the characteristic of a good teacher are also influenced by regional condition. As an example, in China, studies have shown that the character of the teacher that they are emphasizing the way in which computer skills are integrated in the teaching seems to help generate positive attitudes towards due to the popularity of information of technology or IT in the country and their classroom practice. This proves that the difference whereas Emirati state or uni Emirate students then prefer skill related to humanistic side of the teacher and the classroom practice. This proves that difference in the character and the culture of a region area on one of the factors that make perceptions of a good teacher is different. So the question asked in the study were the three questions, namely the first question: what are the characteristics of a good English foreign language teacher according to the Omani high school students? And the second one is: what are the characteristics of a good English foreign language teacher according to Omani English foreign language teacher? And the last question is: are the difference and the similarity students and teachers' perception of the characteristic of good English teachers? So this is a Chromebook alpha coefficients table which will be used to measure the reliability result of this study. In this slide, there are the 7 categories of the questionnaire that were studied. The result of the Chromebook alpha coefficient data show that 6 from the 7 categories report a good alpha level above 0.70, while the last group of knowledge of general health, knowledge of general self characteristic, not Chromebook alpha, and acceptable of the 0.69. The alpha level of the questionnaire categories was as follows in this slide: contain knowledge about teaching and learning, graded assessment in number 0.75, pedagogical knowledge about teaching and learning, get assessment in number 0.93, knowledge of self general characteristic, get assessment in number 7.69, knowledge of self-affective variables, get assessment in number 0.88, knowledge about self-professional development, get assessment number in 0.88, knowledge of students number 0.83, and knowledge of class management, get assessment in number 0.70. From the coefficient data above, it is evident that the 6 of the 7 categories of good teacher characteristic according to the perspective of students and teachers in Oman area, categories that the teacher must have or are at the level of good, at the level of reliability. Furthermore, the next slide or the next material will be continued by my friends Arin Saputra.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ardian Saputra and I'm from Group 8. Jadi, saya akan menjelaskan tentang tabel 1 yaitu Student Questionnaire Category Totals. Seperti yang telah dijelaskan sebelumnya oleh speaker pertama yaitu Muhammad Fahrul Armas, dia menjelaskan bahwa ada 7 kategori yang akan diberikan kepada peserta atau yaitu student dan teachernya sendiri dalam bentuk kuesioner atau angket. Jadi table 1 itu show us about student questionnaire category totals. Table 1 reports student questionnaire means for the 7 categories. Each of the 7 categories receive a mean between 3.18 and 3.47, thereby suggesting that students believe each category was important for their teachers. The 2 categories that received the highest means were knowledge about oneself general characteristic, that is, the means was 3.47, and knowledge about oneself affective variables, the means was 3.44. Despite the relatively high levels of self-awareness, student participants ascribe to the areas of general characteristic and affective variables. The category of knowledge about oneself professional development, that is the mean was 3.18, recorded the lowest mean. Knowledge about students, 3.37, received the third the third highest main among the 7 categories, followed by 2 categories related to the teacher knowledge about teaching and learning, pedagogical knowledge and teaching and learning, 3 point and content knowledge about teaching and learning. That is, the main was 3.29. Closely related to these areas, knowledge about classroom management received the second lowest main of 3.25. This is an area the student participants still believe to be important for their instructor. All questionnaire categories are explored in more detail below. Jadi di sini dijelaskan bahwa hasil angket siswa itu pada tabel 1, masing-masing dari 7 kategori itu menerima rata-rata antara 3,18 dan 3,47. Dengan demikian itu siswa percaya bahwa setiap siswa sebagai peserta itu percaya bahwa setiap kategori penting bagi guru mereka. Dan meskipun ini adalah area yang dianggap penting oleh peserta siswa bagi instruktur mereka, semua kategori kuesioner dieksplorasi lebih rinci di bawah ini. Dia akan dijelaskan pada tabel 2. Okay, the next is table 2. Teacher questionnaire category totals. Dengan kategori yang sama, show us about teacher opinion. Table 2 contains questionnaire. Table 2 contains questionnaire category means for teacher participant atau teacher yang sebagai partisipan itu. Again, like the student participant, all category means fell within a range that suggested teacher believed each of these categories of teacher characteristic to be important. See section comparison of student and teacher results. The questionnaire category that recorded the highest means was like the result for student participant. Knowledge about oneself general characteristic mencapai min 3,73 or 3.73, while knowledge about classroom management 3.70, and knowledge about oneself affective variables 3.669 received the next highest means, although the knowledge about oneself professional development recorded the lowest category mean for the student participant. Here it received a mean of 3.55, which placed it as the second lowest category, with content knowledge about teaching and learning 3.48 receiving the lowest teacher mean overall, even though it was still considered to be important. The remaining 2 questionnaire categories were knowledge about students, with mean was 3.60, and pedagogical knowledge about teaching and learning 3.56. Each questionnaire category is explored in more detail below. So, kategori kuesioner pengetahuan tentang diri sendiri atau karakteristik umum or knowledge about oneself general characteristic menerima rata-rata keseluruhan 3,73. Peserta guru percaya bahwa karakteristik umum yang paling penting adalah bersiap untuk kelas. Dan itu ditampilkan pada tabel ketiga. Oke, table 3 student and teacher questionnaire group means. Yang ini agak berbeda dengan yang tadi karena di sini telah dibandingkan antara student man dengan teacher man pada angket-angket yang diberikan. Tapi di sini dalam bentuk grup. student and teacher questionnaire group means. Jadi di sini ada bentuk grup dan diberikan angket ini kepada grup tersebut. Dan kembali lagi, knowledge about oneself general characteristic itu mencapai the highest mean for student mean. Let's see, for the teacher mean also knowledge about oneself general characteristic itu mencapai the highest mean also. Tabel 3 berisi sarana siswa dan guru untuk setiap kelompok angkat. Bahkan sekilas ke tabel menunjukkan dua kecenderungan yang umum. Yang pertama, seperti yang telah disebutkan di atas, adalah bahwa semua sarana kelompok untuk peserta siswa dan guru mencatat nilai di atas 3,00, yang menunjukkan bahwa mereka semua dianggap sebagai karakteristik penting dari guru telah menetapkan nilai-nilai rata. Dianggap sebagai karakteristik penting dari guru bahasa Inggris di Oman. Kecenderungan umum kedua adalah bahwa peserta guru telah menetapkan nilai rata-rata yang tinggi untuk setiap kelompok daripada peserta siswa. Dengan demikian menunjukkan bahwa guru menganggap setiap bidang menjadi lebih penting daripada rekan siswa mereka. Untuk mengeksplorasi sifat tren ini secara lebih rinci, sampel atau contoh independen atau tes digunakan untuk menentukan apakah ada perbedaan yang signifikan secara statistik antara guru dan siswa. Untuk semua kelompok angket all of the group angket, terdapat perbedaan yang signifikan antara siswa dan peserta guru, dengan peserta guru yang melaporkan rata-rata kelompok yang lebih tinggi secara signifikan daripada siswa. Hal ini menunjukkan bahwa guru bahasa Inggris di Oman menganggap masing-masing dari 7 kelompok yang ditampilkan dalam kuesioner lebih penting daripada siswa. Meskipun siswa masih menganggap mereka penting, temuan ini mungkin disebabkan oleh beberapa alasan, termasuk lebih akrabnya peserta guru dengan tuntutan profesi guru itu sendiri dibandingkan dengan siswa yang dapat dianggap sebagai konsumen layanan pendidikan yang diberikan oleh guru dan lembaga mereka. Okay, next, table 4, independent test for teacher and student participant and questionnaire groups. Untuk for exploring the t-test, wait for a minute. Okay, to explore the nature of these trends in more detail, independent sample t-tests were employed to determine statistically significant differences between teachers and students. Do the multiple tests increasing the chance of type I error, significance levels for these t-tests were, after performing a Benferoni correction, sada P lebih kecil daripada 1 for all tests. 11 tests for equality of variances reported significant result, which indicate that equal variances within the students and teachers sample couldn't be assumed. For these reasons, results reported in table 4 are for those that do not assume equal variances. So to explore the nature of teacher and student perception of the characteristic of a good English teacher is in more detail, the 10 highest and lowest rated qualities by both student and teacher groups are featured below. Table 5 indicates that 6 of the second items, but for table 5 and table 6 will explain by the next speaker. So uh, thank you for watching, and it's all from me. So assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Next, thanks for the time. Thank you very much. I'm Evan Nurdayani from Group H. Baik, di sini saya akan melanjutkan pembahasan materi dari teman saya, dari rekan saya Ardin Saputra, tentang 7 items, dan saya akan menjelaskan item selanjutnya atau pada tabel selanjutnya, yaitu tabel 5. Okay, in tabel 5 atau tabel 5 indicates that 6 of the 10 items that received the highest means from student and teacher participants were the same. Perhaps not strangely, given these findings, students participants at other items led to English proficiency and the equitable treatment of students to this list, with the following items also read by students as being among the most important. Characteristics of English teachers: have a high level of English proficiency, care about all students, be tolerant of students in comprehension, and have good rapport with pupils. While students mostly focus on the nature of the classroom relationship and the teachers as English abilities, teacher participants did several items associated with the actual practice of teaching itself. These include: be prepared for class, be confident and have self-control, know how to evaluate pupils, and use a variety of teaching methods. Pada tabel 5 ini menunjukkan bahwa 6 dari 10 item yang menerima sarana peserta didik tertinggi dan guru yang sama. Oke, next. Dengan temuan ini, peserta didik menambahkan atau peserta menambahkan item lain yang berkaitan dengan kemahiran bahasa Inggris dan perlakuan yang adil pada siswa. Dengan item berikut juga dinilai oleh siswa sebagai diantaranya karakteristik paling penting dari guru bahasa Inggris, yaitu memiliki sebuah kemahiran bahasa Inggris tingkat tinggi, peduli dengan sesama siswa, toleran terhadap ketidaktahuan siswa, dan juga memiliki hubungan yang baik antara guru dan siswa. Dan juga sedangkan siswa lebih banyak fokus pada sifat hubungan kelas atau sifat hubungan antara siswa dalam kelas serta kemampuan guru berbahasa Inggris. Peserta guru menambahkan beberapa item terkait dengan praktik pengajaran itu sendiri. Nah, ini termasuk jadilah guru yang siap untuk dalam kelas, percaya diri dan memiliki kendali diri, tahu bagaimana mengevaluasi murid, dan juga menggunakan berbagai metode pengajaran. Okay, next, table 6. Table 6 features the 10 items that receive the lowest means from student and teacher participants. The table again features a large degree of overlap between the teacher characteristic that student and teacher believe to be the less important from the questionnaire, with both groups or participants having 6 of the 10 items in common. 2 of these items: be aware of Western cultures and be familiar with the social and cultural background of the learners, relate to the importance of being aware of the first language cultures and the cultures associated with the English language in the classroom. Moreover, another two items that respondents believe to be among the less important were related to the use multitude in the classroom. These were used individual as multimedia in teaching and use the less technology in teaching. To this list, student participants at select appropriate supplementary materials. Top this item did this item did not appear in the teacher's list of the 10 less important characteristics of the final two items that both students and teachers believe to be less important for their English teachers. One was related to the importance of action research, and the other was about the teacher's physical appearance. These were be able to solve practical problems through conducting action research and have an acceptable appearance. Pada tabel 6 ini menampilkan 10 item yang menerima paling rendah peserta didik dan guru, dan juga menampilkan tingkat tumpang tindih yang besar antara karakteristik guru yang paling tidak diyakini oleh siswa dan guru pada penting dari kuesioner. Dengan kedua kelompok peserta memiliki 6 dari 10 item yang sama. Dua di antara itemnya itu waspada terhadap budaya barat dan menjadi akrab dengan latar belakang sosial dan budaya peserta didik, dan hubungan dengan pentingnya menyadari budaya pertama dan budaya yang terkait dengan bahasa Inggris di kelas. Okay, next. Conclusion. The current research sought to explore the characteristics of good EFL teachers in the Omani high school context as perceived by Omani students and teachers working in the context. Findings indicate that both students and teachers tend to agree about the importance of all 7 questionnaire category areas, with characteristics related to having a high level of English language proficiency and treating students equally and with respect being of special importance. Moreover, participants agreed that knowledge of the Western cultures associated with the English language and the use of technology and supplementary materials in EFL classes were relatively unimportant. Oke, penelitian ini berusaha untuk mengeksplorasi karakteristik guru EFL yang baik dalam konteks sekolah menengah Oman, seperti yang dipersepsikan oleh siswa dan guru Oman yang bekerja dalam konteks tersebut. Temuan menunjukkan bahwa baik siswa maupun guru cenderung demikian setuju tentang pentingnya ketujuh bidang kategori kuesioner dengan karakteristik yang berkaitan dengan tingkat tinggi kemahiran bahasa Inggris dan memperlakukan siswa secara setara atau dengan hormat menjadi yang paling penting. Nah, bahkan peserta setuju bahwa pengetahuan tentang budaya barat atau yang terkait dengan bahasa Inggris itu dan penggunaan teknologi dan materi tambahan di kelas EFL relatif itu tidak penting. I think that's all for my explanation for my group. Terima kasih atas perhatiannya. Sekian dari kelompok kami. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.